Hello. This video is for lesson 2 of the Student's Choice College Essay Unit. And in this video, we're going to talk about pre-writing. And in fact, we're going to talk a little bit about the writing process in general. Our objective today, what you should be able to do by the end of this lesson, is to be able to complete some brainstorming activities, some pre-writing activities, to help you identify the content that should be included in your essay. And all of these steps really apply regardless of what type of essay you're writing, whether it's Common App, whether it's UCAS, whether it's Taiwan or China or Thailand, whether it's a Y college, whether it's a Y major. The process is going to be the same no matter what essay you're writing. It's just the content and maybe the style of writing that's going to change a little bit. So, like I said, I want to start by talking about the writing process. Writing is not supposed to be something that we do once and is finished. Writing is a process. It's a series of steps, and we work through it almost kind of in a cycle, so that we start with this step that we call pre-writing. And that's what you're going to work on in this lesson. And this is a time for you to plan and think about all of the things that you need to include in your writing. Once you've finished pre-writing, once you have a solid plan in place, then you can start drafting. Drafting is the time when you actually get words on paper or, in a document, because it's 2022 and, most of us prefer to type things rather than handwriting. That's okay. So drafting is that time when you just put everything onto paper or into your document. Once you have a draft, then it's time to revise and edit. And those are two different steps. Revising is all about improving the content and the structure. This is where you decide, do I need all of the information that I have? Do I have all of the information that I need? Is it well organized? Do I need to move things around or change the order? That's revising. Editing, on the other hand, is all about following conventions. Editing is when we look to see, do we have complete sentences? Have we avoided fragments and run-ons? Editing is a time where we look and make sure we have all of the necessary punctuation, all of our subjects and our verbs agree with each other. All of those things that relate to grammar and mechanics and punctuation, that's editing. We always revise the content first before we edit the conventions. Otherwise, if you do the conventions first, if you fix the grammar first, and then you decide that you need to add a section, you're going to have to go back and re-edit. So it's important to make sure that your content and your structure are as they're going to be before you move on to editing for grammar conventions. And then the last step, of course, is publishing. Publishing is when you're rewriting, making sure that you have a clean, clear, correct, final draft, and then sharing that draft with your intended audience, whether that's with me, whether that's with your classmates, whether we're actually publishing to the internet, sharing it with whomever it's designed for. So you can see in this diagram, it works kind of in a cycle, but sometimes we move back and forth. So, we may make it all the way through drafting and get to revision and realize, we're missing a whole lot of stuff. We might have to go back to pre-writing and rethink our plan. We might get all the way to what we think is our publication phase and realize that we need to go back and revise and edit again. And I want to encourage you that that is okay and that is normal. It is completely and totally acceptable to think that you're done and reread it and realize that it's not quite there yet. Happens to most writers. So, as you are pre-writing today is an opportunity for you to work on planning whatever essay you've decided to work on this unit. So the first thing that you need to do is consider the rhetorical situation. That means you need to figure out, who is your audience? Who are you writing for? For this essay, obviously, you're writing for your college admissions counselors. But you might write other essays with different audiences. What is your purpose? What are you trying to do with this essay? What is the context? What's happening in the time and place around your submitting this essay? What is your topic? What are you going to write about? Once you've got those things clear, it's time to start brainstorming. There are a lot of ways to brainstorm. You can free write. This is where you grab a sheet of paper or a Google Doc if you're digital, and you just start writing whatever comes to mind. You might work on making a list. Make a list of all of the things that you want to include in your writing. Depending on what you're writing, a mind map might be useful. With this central idea and all of these things branching out from it. Some of us are really linear thinkers, and those lists and those outlines work better for us. Some people think a little bit more visually and spatially, and they really like mind maps. I want to encourage you to brainstorm in whatever way is most useful to you. You might need to research. For this essay, not too much. You might need to learn a little bit about your university. That's really about it. For other essays, you'll have to do a lot of research. Maybe an organizer. Sometimes we give you organizer sheets with boxes or with flowcharts to help guide your writing. Some people like outlines, where everything is very linear and very organized and it follows that specific pattern. If that's you, that's great. Write an outline. So now that we've talked about all of the different options for pre-writing, it's time for you to give it a shot. Now, we said that before you start pre-writing, you've got to figure out your rhetorical situation. So let me shine a light on that for you and tell you what it is that you're working with. Your audience, obviously, are the admissions representatives for whatever university or whatever area you've chosen to write for, whether that's a university here in Thailand, a university in Taiwan, in the US, in the UK. Think about the idea of writing to someone sitting at a desk at the university that you want to attend. They're who you're writing for. Your purpose is to inform them all about you and maybe also to persuade them, why are you a good bet? Why should they choose you? Your context, obviously, you want to go to their university. That's why we're doing this, why we're going through this process, why we're writing this essay. We want to be a part of their university. And your topic, who are you and why should they admit you? even if you're writing a Common App essay that is story-based, this is still what you have to show them. Who are you and why should they admit you? So here is your plan. This is what you're doing. I want you to review the requirements for this essay. You might go back and take a quick look at yesterday's video. You might go back and take a quick look at the sample essays so that you're very, very clear on what it is that you are creating. And then I want you to go open one of the Google Docs in your unit overview document. There will be a link for a pre-writing document. I want you to go open that. Each of those pre-writing documents has a list of questions for you to answer or a list of topics for you to write about. So I want you to go find that Prewrite Google Doc. It'll say like blank and then whatever essay you're writing. So like blank personal statement or blank autobiography or blank Common App. You want to go open that Google Doc and you want to make a list of the information that you want to include in each section of your essay. And that will look different depending on which unit you've decided to tackle. So those documents are customized to each of those essay types. Once you've done that, I want you to go back and look at your list carefully. And I want you to eliminate anything that doesn't fit your quote-unquote brand. So at the beginning of your pre-write, I just want you to dump as much information into this document as you can. And then I want you to review it and make sure that it shows you the way you want to present yourself to the university. So think back to your brag sheet. Think back to your college essay essentials brainstorming. Like if you said that one of your most important qualities is being adaptable, then we want to make sure that we keep the examples that show us as adaptable, and we might need to get rid of some examples that show us not being adaptable. If we said that we are hardworking, then we want to focus on giving examples of us being hardworking. And if there's anything that makes us look a little bit lazy, we want to get rid of that. And then I want you to take a minute and organize your list in a way that makes sense. Make sure that as you move through each section, it follows a logical progression. Whether that is chronological, start at the beginning of the story and work towards the end. Whether that is from most important to least important, or from least important to most important, just make sure that it's organized somehow in a way that makes sense. And make sure that you have evidence and examples. So especially when you're writing, this applies a little bit less to Common App and a little bit more to the other types. When you're writing about your academic preparation and your other skills and activities, make sure that you have examples that you can give to back up each of those characteristics or each of those claims that you're going to make about yourself. So as you're writing, sometimes we have questions. If you get stuck, here are my suggestions. First of all, I want you to think about finding a classmate to collaborate with. Have them look over your list. You can look over theirs. As you're struggling, find someone that is working on the same essay who might be able to help you out. I'm really going to encourage you, if you don't understand the instructions for the assignment, ask your classmates before you ask me. I want you guys to get into the habit of solving your own problems. Now, that is not to say I don't want to help you. If you have talked with someone at your table, if you have asked around to see if the other people in your class understand the directions, if you are still stuck, please come see me, raise your hand, yell at me, Miss Jasmine, and I will be happy to help you. So let's quickly check. Are we ready to move on? These are the things you should be able to do. Can you name the steps in the writing process? Can you explain why pre-writing is important? And can you give some examples of ways to practice pre-writing? If you can do all of those things, then you are ready to move on to the next step. So I want you to click in lesson 2 on the link to the blank pre-writing document for your essay, and I want you to take some time to make a list of the things that you need to include. If blank docs and listing isn't your preferred style of pre-write, if you like mind maps, if you like image-based pre-writing, you can always feel free to create your own representation of this content. You can use slides, you can use Google Draw, you can use whatever you would like. Just remember, this isn't a rough draft yet. Okay? Go get to work.